Hey everyone, today I am going to do red beans and rice. There's several versions of this. I've seen it used with crawfish, I've seen it used with shrimp, but I'm using andouille sausage. Andouille sausage is kind of a sausage that they use down in Louisiana, so I decided to use that one instead. There are a couple shortcuts I'm going to take here only because I really didn't prepare ahead of time. Normally I would take about a pound of red beans and soak them overnight and use those. I did not do that, so we're going to use a can of red beans. A couple other shortcuts I'll show you here, but this is one of my favorite meals, obviously because I'm making it. It's simple, tasty. I am going to do a few things that probably people don't do on red beans and rice, but I don't care, I like them, so I'm going to do them anyway. So I'll show you how the process goes and also show you the ingredients that we'll need ahead of time. Okay, here are the ingredients. I'm going to go over them one at a time here. So you're going to want to get a teaspoon of cumin. I like to use white pepper on this. Once again, it has a different flavor than black pepper. If you don't have white pepper, go ahead and use black pepper. A tablespoon of chili powder. This is kind of essential to this dish. I'm also going to use smoked paprika. I love smoked flavor, so that's one of the main ingredients I use or spices I use all the time. A teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder. We're going to use a half a can of tomato paste. We're going to use a teaspoon of salt, and then I'm going to use a can of diced tomatoes drained and, drained and squeezed so all the juices are out. I'll chop up an onion, and then I will use probably 3 of these andouille sausages. Now, like I said before, normally I would take red beans and I would soak them overnight. These expand and get really large. These are miniature or small red beans. So what I'm going to end up using is a can of the kidney beans. Once again, these are light. I'd rather use the dark, but this is what I had in the pantry. Now, let's say you don't have all these spices. Don't worry about that. You just get your Cajun seasoning. This is one I've showed before. Slap Your Mama, and then the other Creole type seasoning I use. I think it's called Tony Chackers. Or Chackers. So those are the things I would season these as needed. I would start out with maybe a half a tablespoon and work your way up because both of them are pretty spicy. So let's get started. So you've seen I've added all the ingredients together with the except the andouille sausage. I'm going to get on that here in a second. Put it in the grill or on the grill. And you could grill, I guess you could. I'm going to put it in a cast iron skillet and I'm going to fry it and then I'm going to slice it. I only used half the onion on this because I'm going to sprinkle the other onion over the top once we actually make the red beans and rice. So this will be simmering, excuse me, bring it to a boil, reduce to a simmer for, I would say, 20 to 40 minutes. I really like to break this down and thicken it up. As the beans cook, they will break down a little bit and they'll add some thickness, although this is pretty thick right now. So we'll start on the sausage next. So while you're having all this cooking on the stove, you're also going to want to make rice. Now I just use a normal simple rice with 2 parts water, 1 part rice. I also clean my rice and let it soak. It actually cuts down on how much moisture you need in it. So cleaning your rice just means to let the rice soak. You will clean it. I use a whisk to whisk it up, and the water will become cloudy. You keep draining that. The reason you do that, it takes that starch out of there and you get a fluffier rice. So the more times you do it and the clearer the water becomes, the less sticky that rice is going to be. So that's why we do that. You don't have to do it, but you will definitely know the difference in the rice. I am actually going to use some Spanish rice that I had made a couple days ago. The proverbial waste not, want none. I've got about 2 cups of that left, so I'm going to use that instead. So that's just because I have it left over. Normally I would just make rice from scratch and use that, but if you see the tomatoes and the green chilies and the rice, that's why, because I've decided to use that instead of making new rice. Welcome back. So we have our finished product here. Take it down here. So here we have red beans and rice. So you can see I put it over a bed of rice. The andouille sausage, I've tasted it already, it's really, really good. The beans have a really rich flavor to them. What you can do also is put onions over the top, which is my preference. I've seen people do this, and I'll send true cooks through the root, but I've seen people put Monterey Jack cheese over the top of this. But here you go, red beans and rice, simple, very hearty, and easy to make. So once again, signing off from the Quarantine Kitchen.